Thank you very much, Mr. Gregg. It's a pleasure to take over your chairmanship, and I won't take long because the Minister will be able to reply to my the Right Honourable Gentleman from Orkney and Shetland, with whom I had the pleasure of serving on the Energy and Climate Change Select Committee for 18 months. And I rise really to endorse all that he has said. I mean, he's identified a lot of the issues that exist within the smart meter rollout. And it would be good to know that the government is aware of them. From all of my conversations with ministers, I'm confident that, that the ministers do see those problems and they are seeking to tackle them. But the timeline that had been set, and that both the previous Secretary of State and the previous Minister of State in DEC had both come to our committee to say that they were fully confident in being able to achieve, does now seem that it may not be quite so achievable as it had been previously said to us as a committee that it might be. And so I just hope that the importance of digitising the energy system and the role of smart meters within that is embraced by the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy. In my view, digitising that energy system is the key to delivering a decentralised generation system. It's the key to being able to load shift and therefore flatten supply and demand curves, and therefore be able to achieve greater energy security through less demand and also greater efficiency in the way we use energy, which of course leads to lower prices. And the smart meters in homes and businesses are the linchpin in achieving that. But I also agree, absolutely, there has to be a user experience, that this is just a mysterious grey box of tricks that gets put in underneath somebody's stairs. And if it doesn't have the connectivity that it should, so it doesn't work, immediately the perception is that these are just a grey box of tricks that actually doesn't do anything and is a bit useless. So we need to make sure they work from the get-go. They need to be accessible, and actually, you know, these in-home displays are great, but there's a sort of odd thing where you can only start with a certain screen, and many consumers have said that it'd be better if the default screen showed the financial usage that they were going through each time. So changing that would be helpful too. And then we need to make sure that the energy market is set up to allow smart meters to deliver real savings through half-hourly settlement. Because at the moment, all that people can really do is go around their house like the Ghostbusters with their in-home display, sort of seeking the thing that is using energy at any one time. Now, the savings are not insignificant, but it's just a fraction of the savings that could be unlocked if we properly digitise people's homes and businesses from an energy perspective through giving these, through putting these things in and making sure that they work and that the market is set up to take advantage of that digitisation. The only other thing I'd say is that I think that the arrival of the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy is actually a huge opportunity within the smart meter rollout, because under one roof now is energy policy and responsibility for the energy market, but also consumers and also tech and innovation. And seeing all of those things as part of this, I think is quite helpful, rather than potentially the Department for Energy and Climate Change seeing it as an energy policy issue and B, seeing it as a consumer issue. So my final plea is that the department sees the opportunity to make sure that these smart meters are future-proofed, so that the Internet of Things can be operated through and around them, so that the home experience really works. My sense is people won't see the benefits of having had a smart meter in an IoT-enabled home purely from an energy perspective, but from the wider consumer experience, and they'll be very grateful for the energy savings that come with it.
It's a huge pleasure to serve under your chairmanship, and I'd like to start by congratulating the Right Honourable Gentleman for securing a debate on an issue that is going to touch and affect every home in the UK. I'd like also to, and it's drawn quite a crowd from visitors that we should welcome, not least the new Member of Parliament for Richmond Park. Welcome to her place. But I'd also like to thank him for the constructive way that he has framed this debate, which is exactly what I'd expect given his record in the House. And I acknowledge the very valuable contribution from my honourable friend, the Member for Wales, who, as I've said on Twitter, is one of the more thoughtful members of Parliament on the subject of energy in this House, always interesting on this subject. And as the honourable Member for Orkney and Shetland said very clearly, this is a good thing. You know, we're talking about a long overdue upgrading of an outdated system. I'm not just talking about meters where the technology is basically 100 years old. but also how this fits, as I think the Honourable Member for Wales was alluding to, into a broader, more ambitious strategy in terms of upgrading our energy system. Not just wrestling with the dilemma that previous Liberal Democrat Secretary of State in the coalition government, which we both wrestled with, the trilemma of security, affordability and increasingly clean sources of energy, but also how we make the system smarter and more flexible to deliver a better experience for our constituents. Better in terms of, do away with the nonsense of estimated bills in 2016. Do away with calls to call centres, a desire to give our constituents a greater sense of control, of course, and the opportunity to save money. Not the silver bullet for fuel poverty, that is entirely right, but the data suggesting that people with the first wave of smart meters are saving, according to British Gas surveys, around 3%. These are not insignificant sums of money, and of course for those on prepayment, our constituents on prepayment scheme, this is a better system in terms of ability to top up and rebalances more quickly. And so we see it as the foundation of the smart, flexible energy system that we want to work towards. Very committed to. My Secretary of State recently launched this consultation with Ofgem. This is the direction of travel. This is what we're extremely committed to, because the benefits to the country are going to be very significant, not just to our constituents, but to the people we rely on to supply the energy. There's a smarter future ahead, and that is what we're working towards. So this is unequivocally a good thing. But the Right Honourable Gentleman was right to identify some big challenges, and none bigger than meeting this target. But I would say to him, that I associate him with someone of optimism and ambition, he's a Liberal Democrat after all, that we should not give up on that ambition at this stage. There's no basis on which to do so yet. It is a very challenging target, but he'll know as an experienced politician that if you take your foot off the accelerator, people will read the wrong signals in that. And what we want to send is a very strong signal of our commitment to ensure every household and small business is offered smart meters by the end of 2020. We will follow the evidence, and we'll see what that evidence tells us in terms of the feasibility of that target in a few years' time, and he may be in a position to say, I told you so, and he's teed that up nicely, but I hope not. Certainly I don't think it is the wrong time to send a signal of slipped ambition. But there are other challenges, making the early smart meters interoperable. He's entirely right on that. We shouldn't want our constituents to trade off the opportunity to get a better tariff against the opportunity to retain smart functionality. So if I can assure him that the DCC has begun a project to enrol the early SMETS 1 smart meters from 2018 in order to make them usable by all energy suppliers rather than just the one that initially installed them. I think that is it is an issue, but I think it's an issue that's going to go away. And the third challenge that he highlighted, quite rightly, is the challenge of reaching all consumers, including those ones that are at risk of being left behind. And that requires both a wide area network, as he knows, and a home area network. And the data communications company is contracted to provide wide area coverage, Mr. Gapes, to 99.25% of meter points in Great Britain from 2020, which is incidentally greater than current television and mobile services. So some big challenges, but I think it's wrong to slip back on ambition, not least as I think we can point to good progress being made. He mentioned a figure of about 3 million smart and advanced meters in operation. Actually, as of June 2016, which is slightly out of date data, the official number is over 4.2 million smart and advanced meters now operating under the programme. Again, we've got some data now from the British Gas survey, quite a large one, of actually what this is delivering in terms of cost savings for our constituents. And the current run rate is around 3%, which is slightly higher than expected. And we've got a sense of actually how popular these smart meters are, with kind of 8 out of 10 people recommending it, high levels of customer satisfaction with it. And we've updated the latest cost-benefits analysis. I was delighted to give way.